We are going to talk about graphing absolute value functions. So absolute value functions are kind of an interesting function because of the definition of absolute value is that there cannot be any negative answers, because remember, absolute value is the distance from zero. Your graph is going to actually look like a V, like this. Because if you think about it, it could look like a line, but remember, it can't be negative, and so that's why it pops up and forms a V. So we need to figure out this point right here to know where our V is going to be situated on our graph. So in order to do that, I'm going to take what is in the absolute value, and I am going to plug, I'm going to set that equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, and I'm going to figure out where that V is going to situate. So I'm going to do plus 4 on both sides, so x equals 4. So x equals 4 is going to be what I like to call that pivot point. So now I kind of know where to situate or what numbers to plug in for my x. So I'm going to try to pick two numbers. I'm going to try to give myself at least 5 points on this graph. I'm going to pick two numbers below 4, so that would be 3 and 2. And two numbers above 4, which would be 5 and 6. Okay? So I'm going to now plug these guys into my equation to evaluate what the y would be at these values. So the absolute value of 2 minus 4. So I'm going to do the absolute value of negative 2. The absolute value is distance from 0, so that would just be positive 2. Then I've got 3 minus 4. The absolute value of 3 minus 4 is the absolute value of negative 1, which is positive 1. The absolute value of 4 minus 4, which is the absolute value of 0. The distance from 0 is 0. The absolute value of 5 minus 4 is the absolute value of 1, which is just 1. And the absolute value of 6 minus 4 is the absolute value of 2, which is 2. So now, on my graph, I'm going to plot these ordered pairs. So remember, a table is just a bunch of ordered pairs. So 2, 2 is my first ordered pair. So over 2, up 2. Over 3, up 1. 4, 0. 5, 1. And 6, 2. And there is my absolute value equation. Now remember that this is, like I said, a line that's just been reflected or cut in half because we can't have negatives. Because if we had straightened out that line, it would go underneath that x-axis, which would be the negative y's, and we know we can't do that. So make sure when you connect these, they are straight on both sides. It is not a parabola, so it should not be curved. It should be straight. Hopefully that kind of gives you an outline of how to figure out how to graph absolute value equations.